Hello, everybody. Travis here for Tpull's Corner. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. We are back to the Kaizen Evil series, and we've entered an interesting stage. For those of you who haven't been around, there's a whole playlist about it now. Kaizen is the Japanese concept of small incremental improvements. And so we started with the most low-down, evil, degenerate type of tactics that we could think of in Magic the Gathering. Things that other players hate, things like poison decks. And the idea is that we're going to get just 1% better. We're going to make less evil decks over time until we get to decks that are not evil, perhaps. And we've kind of covered the easy, low-hanging fruit of evil that lies in Magic the Gathering. And we've kind of entered this next stage. And this next stage is really the evil of the designers, what the designers themselves have put into this game. And the last time we did this, we used a couple of spells, one creature, one sorcery. There's no limit on them. You can have more than 4 copies. And the whole reason that we got rid of this idea was because it was recognized that some cards were too powerful, and you had to have limits on those type of things. And I thought it was a little evil that the Magic the Gathering designers would continue to design and develop cards that broke that rule, since it was one of the earliest, most fundamental changes to the game to try and keep things from getting broken. And we are already in trouble. But we will put out Doubling Season. See if it lasts. I think that's worth blocking, yeah. Alright, now we can cast this. I think we have to pay 2 life. But with Doubling Season, instead of 5 loyalty counters, it comes in with 10. And this is the evil that is Magic the Gathering. Oh, it comes in as 12. We'll take it. And because we have Doubling Season, we don't create 1 token. So you have Doubling Season, if you create 1 or more tokens, it creates twice that many tokens. So our +1 creates a Phyrexian Horror creature token, and we get 2 Phyrexian creature tokens. So just like that, we've gone to being in trouble to having 2 13/13 creatures on the field. They can add this to power and give it haste. But they're not going to attack, which is kind of a problem for them, I think, because we're getting these.
Our strength multiplies.
We can also get these.
Ha! I love a dramatic entrance.
I think I want to surveil. Ooh,
I've got you beat 6 different ways.
those are both good. We'll take them. I think I won't be greedy. I won't attack. We could easily have to, like, double block one of these. +1 for each forest and trample. I think I've got lethal. So we start actually... Yeah, we start with a fight. Let's see if we get the fight out of... Oh, they don't even wait for it. The evil works our first trip out. Doubling season followed by Planeswalker gives us twice as many loyalty tokens on the Planeswalker. It leads to a very decisive victory when they had a 7-8 coming at us, and we were half dead. I don't think I could have asked for a better introduction to how this deck works and the concept behind it. Call it plain double for doubling up our Planeswalkers. And the reason this is evil is because doubling season was first introduced in Ravnica, which was, I think, back in 2005. And Planeswalkers were supposed to be introduced in Time Spiral, but they didn't have them ready yet. They wanted to take their time. But Mark Rosewater designed this card. He loves doubling effects. There is an alpha card called Berserker, which allows you to double your power. But I think you have to sacrifice the creature at the end of the turn, if I remember right. And he wanted something that didn't have quite that much of a drawback. So doubling season debuted. It was very powerful. And then he tried to reprint it in Zendikar. But by the time Zendikar came out, this was like 4 years later, I want to say, like 2009 when Zendikar came out, Planeswalkers were a thing. Planeswalkers existed. And they went to development, and they said, you can't have doubling season because we now have Planeswalkers. And if you put out a Planeswalker while doubling season around, you will automatically be able to have enough loyalty counters to use their ultimate ability as soon as they hit the playing field. And that is broken. And nobody wants to have that kind of environment, so you can't reprint doubling season. So whenever doubling season was reprinted, it was reprinted in non-standard sets only. Sets where they didn't have crossovers with Planeswalkers. And then they decided to do Foundations and say, here's a set full of some of your old favorite cards, and we're going to do it for at least 5 years. We're going to have this in the environment. And, oh, by the way, we said we were going to do fewer Planeswalkers, but we're introducing some Planeswalkers in Foundations too. So they went from the designers and developers all agreeing you can't have doubling season with Planeswalkers because it breaks the game, to the modern day and time. And let's hear them try and say that there is nothing like power creep today. But they are introducing doubling season along with Planeswalkers in the same set. That is evil, the way we define evil. Okay, they're purposefully introducing things that were considered so horrendous they could not possibly be allowed. Well, they did it, so I'm using it. And so here's what we got. We got 4 copies of Doubling Season. It's an enchantment. It's mythic rare. If an effect you would create 1 or more tokens under your control, you create twice that many tokens instead. Or if an effect would put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many counters on that permanent instead. It's good to use this with Helena and Elena, by the way. But what I did was I chose a 3-color deck where you have 3 copies of Leyline of the Guild Pack so that we don't have to worry about fixing our mana quite so much. If this shows up in your opening hand, you just throw it onto the battlefield right away. And every non-land permanent you control is all 5 colors. And the lands you control are every basic land type, which is really nice if we get to use Nissa's ultimate here. The -7, until end of turn, creatures you control gain +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. If we have 7 lands, along with Leyline of the Guild Pack, all 7 lands count as forests, so that gives +7/+7 to every creature. In the meantime, we can also just create the Phyrexian creature horror that you saw in the first match, or we could -1 to destroy a target artifact or enchantment. I've got 1 Spectrum Sentinel, artifact creature, 1/2. It's from Brothers War. Protection from multicolored. So they could zap it with a lightning bolt, because that's just red, right? They could kill it with a black destroy spell. But anything that has 2 colors in it, you can't target this. Also, whenever a non-basic land and opponent control enters, you gain 1 life. I've got 1 Bushwhack that can be used to have target creature fight another creature you don't control, but I'm usually using it to get another basic land early on. Our 2 drops, we've got Sheoldred's Edict. This is really in case they bring a Planeswalker to the fight. Armored Scrap Gorger is my graveyard hate. I can add 1 mana of any color, and whenever I tap this creature, you get to exile a card from a graveyard, It gets an oil counter. Once it gets 3 oil counters on it, it becomes a 3/3 instead of a 0/3. Attracts' Fall, destroy target artifact, battle, enchantment, or creature with flying. I consider that another form of removal. Innkeeper's Talent. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature control. Love to match this up with Doubling Season. Permanents you control with counters on them have ward 1, and then you spend 4 more to get to level 3. If you put 1 or more counters on opponent or player, put twice that many instead. So it's kind of like a miniature Doubling Season. You have to spend a little bit more mana to get it up there. But this kind of gives me a 5th chance at having Doubling Season, so to speak. Maybe have them combine a little bit. 1 copy of Up the Beanstalk. This is a very heavily used enchantment in the current environment. When the enchantment enters, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. And you can see from our distribution here, we've got a certain number of 5 and 6 mana cards. It's a kind of expensive deck, 3.7 average. 11 Planeswalkers in the set. Next, Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Create a 1/1 white human creature token, then create a food token. On your 3rd turn, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is 1 plus the number of foods you control. If we do happen to have Doubling Season out, when we create these things, we're going to create 2 humans on the 1st turn. We'll create 2 food tokens on the 2nd turn, and instead of putting 2 counters on a target, we get 4 counters. So it becomes a 5/5 white human creature if we put it on the humans. Case of the Shattered Pact. This is something I usually throw in if I have multiple copies of Ley Line of the Guild Pact. You use it to go get a basic land card, so it's a little bit of ramp. If I don't have this out already, maybe I'm using this to fix my mana and get the 3rd color I need. When I solve, there are 5 colors among permanents you control. That basically means I've got Ley Line of the Guild Pact out because it turns everything into all 5 colors. Once this case is solved, beginning combat each of my turns, target creature control gains flying, double strike, and vigilance until end of turn. That can be a game winner under the right circumstances. We've got to try and give Aetherdrift a chance, so I put an Aetherdrift card in here. He's a 3/1 defending turtle. When it enters, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you create a creature treasure token. So if I'm getting lands, if the opponent just gets ahead of me on ramp, and I have Doubling Season out, I'll get 2 treasure tokens instead of 1 when this pops out. We also have Treasure Map itself. You scry 1, put a landmark counter on it. Once it has 3 or more landmarks, get transformed. Well, actually, I guess the landmark counters just go away, and you just create 3 treasure tokens out of scratch. But this transforms into the land, and then you can sacrifice the treasure and draw a card. 1 copy of Spark Rupture. When the enchantment enters, you draw a card. I like that. Each Planeswalker with 1 or more loyalty counters on it loses all their abilities and becomes a creature with power and toughness, each equal to the number of loyalty counters on it. So if I've got Doubling Season out and I bring out Kaya, she's coming out as a 12/12 Planeswalker. If I then play Spark Rupture, she doesn't have any abilities, but she's still a 12/12 creature, and maybe that's all I need to win the game. Starting with the Planeswalkers, a Johnny Caller of the Pride. We can put a counter or give them flying and double strike for -3 or for -8. We create a Liliana of the Veil to make them discard or sacrifice a creature. And the -6, you can separate all. Wrenn and Realmbreaker, lands you control have add 1 mana of any color, so this is also another way if I have land you control becomes a 3/3 creature with vigilance, hexproof, and haste until your next turn, so then it turns back into a land. It still counts as a land in the meantime. 2, you mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand, and the -7 is you get an emblem to play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard. So what's fun is if you get Doubling Season out, you play Wrenn and Realmbreaker next, you immediately -7, get an emblem to play things, and then you can play Wrenn and Realmbreaker from the graveyard. Realmbreaker. We have Wrenn and Realmbreaker, and we have Realmbreaker, the Invasion Tree. Spend 2, have them mill 3 cards, and you get a land from the graveyard. For removal, we don't have much so far. We only had those 2 spells. We have a 3rd spell here, Day of Judgment, to destroy all creatures. We have a ram spell, Circuitous Route, to go get 2 basic land cards. They come onto the battlefield tapped. Another Planeswalker with Kaido, Bane of Nightmares. This is my only card that has blue in it, even though I don't have any blue lands. But I like him. I like the ninjutsu ability. During your turn, as long as Kaido has 1 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 3/4 ninja creature and has hexproof. So that's kind of cool. I don't have any other ninjas in here, so the +1/+1 might not matter too much. For 0, you can surveil 2, then draw an opponent or draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. It's worded for commander play, but that's okay. And for -2, you can tap target creature and put 2 stun counters on it. Johnny, Sleeper Agent, completed. Reveal the top card of your library for +1. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, you get put in your hand. Or for -3, you can distribute 3 +1 counters to up to 3 target creatures. They all get Vigilance, and that's going to be basically a bunch of 2/2 counters if we have Doubling Growth out. For -6, you get an emblem. Whenever you cast a creature or planeswalker spell, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. So we actually have a way to kill them with poison in here too. Wanted to fit in a new card from the new expansion set, so Revival of the Ancestors. Create 3 white spirit creature tokens, so that's going to be 6 with Doubling Season. Next, distribute 3 +1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control. In the 3rd turn, they gain Trample and Lifelink until end of turn. Elspeth Stormslayer is also from the more recent expansion. If 1 or more tokens are created under your control, twice that many tokens are created instead. So this already has kind of a Doubling Season effect in the Planeswalker. And so you can see I'm kind of cheating beyond the way that Wizards cheated, right? They didn't just include Doubling Season with their Planeswalkers. They included aspects of Doubling Season on their Planeswalkers, and I'm putting that in the deck with Doubling Season, along with the next best thing that resembles Doubling Season. So we've got quite a bit of things in here that'll double things up. Oh, for the rest of her abilities, okay, you can create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, which would be 2, right, just by her ability alone, before with the Doubling Season out. For 0, you can put a +1/+1 counter on each and every creature you control. Those creatures gain flying until the end of your next turn. Or until your next turn. For -3, you can destroy a target creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater. 1 copy of Urza Assembles the Titans. I have built entire Planeswalker decks around 4 copies of this card. It is fun. If we do manage to get it off, what we can do is we can scry 4 cards. Then if we reveal the top card of our library, if we reveal a Planeswalker, it goes into our hand. The next turn, you can put a Planeswalker card with mana value 6 or less from your hand directly onto the battlefield. And that's kind of nice. All of these will work except for Kaya and Nisa. Everything else we could put onto the battlefield directly with this Chapter 2. For Chapter 3, you may activate the loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers you control twice this turn rather than only once. Oh, if we manage to combine this with Doubling Season, oh, that is like chef's kiss. This is not a Planeswalker, but Sheoldred. I'm kind of using this as my 4th interaction piece. When Sheoldred answers, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or Planeswalker of their choice. If they get 8 cards into their graveyard, I can spend 5, exile Sheoldred, bring it back as the True Scriptures Enchantment Saga you see to the right, and if that goes to the 3rd chapter uninterrupted, all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield come under my control. What's next? We covered Doubling Season. Eternal Wanderer. No more than 1 creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. For 1, you can exile a target creature or artifact. You return it under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step, so you can do it on your stuff or their stuff. For 0, you can create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike. See the token pictured there to the right. And -4, for each creature, choose a creature, or for each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control not chosen this way. We might have like a 1/1 token that we choose, and we might choose another weak creature over there, even though they have like 3 or 4 powerful creatures. This came with Foundations, Liliana Dreadhorde General. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. Can create for +1 a 2/2 black zombie creature token. And for -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures of their choice. And we covered the 9, right? -9. Choose a permanent they control of each permanent and sacrifice the rest. Oh no, that was That was over here where you create 2 piles and they sacrifice all the permanents in the pile. Here's they just choose 1 permanent, and they. I got to remember on this. They control a permanent of each permanent type. So you choose a creature, you choose an enchantment, you choose an artifact, you choose a planeswalker, you choose a land, and then everything else aside from that 1 copy of each thing they have to sacrifice. That's the difference between the 2 Liliana's ultimates. Vraska, Betrayal Sting, also a completed planeswalker. For 0, you draw a card, you lose a life, you proliferate. For -2, target creature becomes a treasure artifact. And -9, if player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. This is kind of fun. This is kind of fun to team up with a Johnny Sleeper agent. I don't know if we'll get to display that in tonight's video, but just keep in mind, if you ever get a chance to pair Vraska with a Johnny, it's kind of fun to work on the poison angle. I've only done 1 poison deck before. Maybe that'll be another evil deck that we do. I'd like to think we're better than that now. That we've been to the evil place where we've done poison and we're above that. We'll see. It depends on if I get any requests for it. Nissa, Ascended Animist. This one's lovely. We just used it in the first match. Cost 7, but you got the 2 Phyrexian mana. So if I only had 5 mana, I could pay 4 life and bring her down as a 5/5, or with 5 loyalty on her. You create a XX green Phyrexian Horde creature token where X is Nissa's loyalty, -1, destroy artifact or enchantment, and then, as we mentioned, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. And finally, 1 copy of Kaya, Intangible Slayer. Costs 7 to get out. It's a loyalty 6 with hexproof. Makes it really hard to get rid of. For +2, each opponent loses 3 life, you gain 3 life. For 0, you draw 2 cards. Each opponent may scry 1. And for -3, you can exile the target creature enchantment. If it wasn't an aura, you can create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 white spirit creature type and flying, in addition to its other types. If doubling season's out, we get to create 2 of those tokens. I do have 1 demolition field, and the rest is all just basic lands right now. It's possible that I should mix this up and have some non-basic lands in there, but I just decided to keep it as simple as possible, because I've already got to keep track of things like, you know, which version of Liliana Planeswalker do I have, and which type of her ultimate is, and how different is that from the other one, and that kind of thing. It can be a little bit of a mental burden to keep track of everything in this deck. But if you can, there's a lot of different things that you can do if the right cards come up. Plus, I've kind of gotten tired of playing non-basic lands and having them dealt at the beginning, and they're always coming in tapped on me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hold on to that and get the treasure token, because they're going to play a land. My opponent never has trouble with land. I have trouble with land sometimes, so we're going to do this now. Create the treasure token. Then we will play our land. That's a little gross. We're nearly dead already, aren't we? Should we do that? I should have. Ouch! I thought I would have an attack. I messed up because I thought I would have an attack phase, but I don't, because Ticket Torch has Defender. So I was supposed to do that. We might have had an interesting match there. This is what happens when I get logged on close to midnight. My next opponent is a dude eating soup. Let's see if I can do this without an obvious mistake this time. This looks like shenanigans to me. Let's go ahead and go get another Plains for Elspeth, just in case. in Vein Ripper already, so it's a Reanimator deck. Of course, they've already got what they need. Between the treasures and the land, we might not be long for this world. Let's go ahead and... Realmbreaker might be the wrong response. We could be fueling what they want in their graveyard to bring back. Yep, they already have it. This way, at least, we should get a land out of this, right? No. Yes, okay. And we got rid of another Zombify spell. They get rid of my ramp, which is kind of why I needed to do Realmbreaker. And we're going to be half dead real quick here. I don't have time to put Doubling Season out, which is what I wanted to do. Now the question is, since they held up all their mana, do they have a counterspell? Because this is basically my only defense right now.
I will turn the tide of battle.
Never mind, hang on. They took away my creature.
Join the fight.
And they can fly right over and knock out that Planeswalker. Forgot, you need to be able to get around their ward. I think we're dead again. You have to get rid of all my creatures. And they just fly and come. Yeah, I don't think we had a chance here. They got Vein Ripper out the very first turn. They already had Collector's Vault. And they had a Zombify. That is the combo. I would have needed something a little more immediate and less expensive than Vraska to take care of that. I don't have too much respect for those decks because they're very big source of net decking. Like, one person created it and nobody else did anything with it except copy it ever since. It is very effective. It might qualify for one of our evil decks. Let's see if what happens against an opponent that doesn't get their absolute ideal hand in their opening hand. Taking the pain to get some stuff set up. We will do Circus Route. We'll go get a couple of these puppies. Then we'll put down Doubling Season. And now they need to have counter spells, or they're going to be in a world of hurt. They go digging because they don't have what they need. So we have a chance. Oh, 2 doubling. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to be greedy.
Your corpse will make it. Ah, time to get my hands dirty.
Life is good. Woo, 13-13. This isn't even a legendary enchantment. Thank you for the card draw. Very nice. Very, very nice.
Don't speak ill of the undead. You get used to the smell.
I know I'm doing this out of order. The chump blocking begins. And we are just so far above and beyond anything they can do. I mean, they would need something specifically to deal with this. Not a bad turn. But wait till they get a load of this.
Phyrexia is as inevitable as the rise of the downtrodden. Another for my collection.
Whew, time to wake up and smell the decay. Ah. Necromancy is a lot like death is such an effective tool.
Do I need to defend my planeswalkers? I think not. I don't really care about any of this. We care about that.
I am always lurking in the shadows.
Thank you, Doubling Season, for all of the extra stings. They're trying to create stuff as much as they can. Let's go ahead and pump this up. Let's go ahead and create this. Okay, so just to explain this real quick, I didn't cover this in the deck intro. We have 2 Doubling Seasons out. Whenever an enchantment saga enters, you put a lore counter on it. So normally it comes in with 1. With 1 Doubling Season, there's 2. So we're creating the human creature tokens and creating a food token. With 2 Doubling Seasons out, there are 2 lore counters that go on this extra. 2 extra in addition to the 3rd one. So whenever you play an enchantment saga with 2 Doubling Seasons out, you go through the entire enchantment saga all at once. And not necessarily in the same order that you might expect. So, what do we want to do? What else do we want to do? How about this? And how about this? And how about this?
This is more enjoyable than slaying demons.
That one's good. And how about this? And how about we attack? They're popping off. Unfortunately, they can't do anything except block. I don't want to lose the abilities of my Planeswalker, though. We're about to go ultimate. What do you got? 1 mana left? What's a 1 mana spell you want to do? Okay. Okay, have you had fun, opponent? Excuse me a second while I get rid of this. Each opponent, choose 1 permanent.
Yours will be a fate worse than undeath.
They get to keep 1 clue, 1 planes, 1 of these, and out of all of these, only 1 of them. We wait for them to make their choices. Yeah, whenever you have a Planeswalker doing their ultimate, that's a sure sign of trouble. It's so beautiful. They don't wait for the attack. I was playing with my food. I'm sorry. It's the evil playlist, right? I'm supposed to be doing evil stuff. But since we have multiple copies, we're not necessarily doubling things sometimes. Sometimes we're quadrupling things. If you want to have fun, and you want a different type of challenge, just use Doubling Season with a whole bunch of enchantment sagas. And just try and get out a couple of Doubling Seasons, and then play your enchantment sagas and see how different the gameplay is when you get to go through all 3 chapters of your enchantment saga all at once. Alright, we get Leyline out and Case of the Shattered Pack. That's kind of cool. I do go mix up my lands in case they find a way to get rid of Leyline of the Guild Pack later. So I can still afford to cast what I have in my hand. They're setting up while I'm setting up. The dragons are coming.
We want peace. We must
No
fight
creatures
for
yet.
it. Your soul burns with might.
Ooh, look, is that 5 colors? Let's go ahead and create a treasure token. Let's go ahead and do the Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Let's go ahead and put a counter on one.
Steel yourself for
We
battle.
can't attack just yet. It's not good to put that on the defender normally. So if the creature survives, we'll target the human next time. If our human survives. Okay, what do you get rid of? Okay, they got rid of the right thing. They get rid of a couple of things. Okay. And all I'm doing is drawing land, which is not ideal for what I want to be doing right now. Ugh. Let's not do that. I guess we're playing a land. Our defenders not have flying.
True strength comes from within.
So we have ended up in a very awkward place because of all these omen dragons they have. They had exactly the right omen cards they needed to get rid of all the threats, all in one turn with multiple spells. Which the infrastructure we have is not bad. We've got a food token, we've got a treasure.
Reconsider your actions.
Unfortunately, just doing nothing but drawing lands is not going to be helpful. That's probably the only land that I would have wanted to keep. And what are we up to now? 3, 6, 7, 8 lands? And how many spells? 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 spells and 8 lands.
Trust yourself and you shall win.
Very awkward. We both got an up the beanstalk though. I just need an actual spell.
Have faith that you will still triumph.
Gets moving, and it's really hard to stop already. Are you serious? Arena. Really? Arena. Arena's doing me dirty. Like, they don't need your help at this point, right? What else is there to do? We will sacrifice that now. And they pretty much have me dead to rights already next turn. We play what we got. The extra card we draw is another land.
I was expecting a
Wow.
more impressive enemy. Today you die.
I guess we just go ahead and play one of these things. This one and this one. And I don't think we need to bring that down this turn. I'm kind of expecting with all that they have removal. Yeah, each creature. Hexproof doesn't stop it when it attacks everybody.
Disappear.
And they got the rest of their engine going. I think we are pretty much dead now. Even a board wipe would only forestall things by a turn or two. Yeah, we play what we got.
Those who get in my way tend to regret. Off you go.
And we can't quite get that out. We can do that. I don't know what they're waiting for. I was trying to be a good neighbor and let them do things. But maybe they just wanted me to leave. Yeah, the newer expansion has crazy ramp capabilities. We have a chance to take on decks like that, but not with a Johnny as our first planeswalker on the field. This is kind of a good hand. We have the doubling season. We've got more than one land. And we actually have one of our removal cards that we can play. To just help us survive, to maybe get to 5 lands. This is the nice type of shuffling and variety that you want. I feel like we might as well use this now, just because if they put out something bigger with the ramp ability, they're going to sacrifice that one no matter what anyway. So let's delay them a turn from what they wanted to do, and not let them cast a 4-drop now. Still, they have just the very next thing, they have ramp. Let's see. I guess we want forest so we can cast Leyline. No attacks, sorry. Make sure you're clicking the right thing, Travis. He's a fun little cheerleader, isn't he? Is it a mistake to do doubling season first, as opposed to Leyline of Guild Pact? Possibly. Possibly. But wait till you see what I'm going to do. Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because they're going to go after that. I'm going to chump block so I keep my health where it is. Alright. Will this work?
The bonds I build are unbreakable.
We now have
Never
42
challenge
twos.
a pride united.
Life is good. Doubling season gave us 8 loyalty counters. We had our life at 20. We create 20 of the 2/2 white cat creature tokens. And then the doubling season doubles the 20, so we end up with 40 creature tokens because we create twice as many tokens. And while they figure that out, it's going to take them, if they're not used to seeing doubling season and planeswalkers interact, they're going to look at my life total, they're going to look at the planeswalker's ultimate, and they're going to say, he should only have 20. How's he ending up with 40? And then they'll eventually, oh, doubling season. Doubling season is out. Not only doubles the loyalty counters, doubles the tokens. And they try. That's not bad. Actually, that kills me. They got me beat. They got me beat. Because I was too slow. After all of that, with their ramp and everything that they could do, that this counts as a land. I'm not even mad. That was excellent. I thought I had him. Like, you think you can create tokens? Watch what I do with my tokens. There's a number of times where I feel like I need a whole extra turn just to catch up to my opponent to get the board state where I need to have a chance. Let's do this first, see if we get a different color land. Yeah, okay. So we need a swamp and a forest or a couple of forests. That's a disgusting card. Very cheap spells, very effective. I did not get what I wanted, but we will ramp. I shouldn't have gotten a plains. That was supposed to be a forest. And this is all very disgusting. I think I'm dead again. I don't know that my mistakes would have fixed anything. Can I do anything here? I mean, I can try and block with the creature tokens for a turn. Maybe that will give me one more turn. I don't think so. All they need is one removal. Yeah. They've got lethal next turn already with what they've got out. The quick, cheap, fast decks with their ideal 1-2-3 curved hand will get us every time. There is a danger in the current environment of playing with 5 color spells. It's always funny. I'll play with 5 color spells, and I die before I can get 5 lands out, and then I'll switch to a fast deck, and somehow my opponent's able to hold me off, and they're casting like 7, 8, 9 mana spells, and they have no problems against my deck. Then I switch back to my deck with 5 mana spells. They give them to me all up front, and I get land screwed, and I never get to play anything. This looks like ramp, 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 so this is actually pretty nice to start with. I like my opponent's name is Space Race. That's cool. Let's do up the beanstalk. And we're against life gain. And they're going to get rid of Realmbreaker or my creature. Okay. So I think it's better if, well, no, because I've got 2 spells. I got 1 effect, and I can still get a land out of it. No land, but I can put treasure map down on the same turn. I think that's okay. I got rid of a couple of lifelinkers and a creature that benefits from lifelink. But they could have something else like this in their hand that would be just as bad. They've got everything they need to get rid of all of my stuff. We got 3 lands, and 3 lands is all they need. I'm dead in 2 turns. Okay. We will scry. That is good, right? Yeah, I think that's good. This costs 2. This doesn't work. I have to destroy a creature with mana value 3 or better. I don't think that's... I don't know if that's enough now. Well, I can make them get rid of everything except the Sanctifier.
This is our enemy?
They
I'll
sacrifice the
finish
other 2.
this here and now.
I get my creature back, and I get to draw a card. Oh, never mind. They get all those counters. And my creature's tapped, which means I still die. So yet again, only 4 lands. Got me again. In a sense, I'm asking for it because I did minimize the amount of removal I have. Instead of having 10, 12 pieces of removal that most people have, I've got like 4. Maybe 5 or 6 if you count certain planeswalker abilities. It's really on the low side. Extra cards. Baker's dozen of extra cards. I do like getting all my colors up front. I do like getting rid of creatures that scale. To get a counter every turn, possibly. That's another one where if they die, the counter's going to another creature. It's a mirror match. They've got doubling season. What color do I need? I do need a second plains. Indestructible. Well, that's just great. How do we get rid of that? It really is a mirror match, isn't it? I think it's too far gone now. I don't have doubling season. I mean, I guess I can try and at least create a 2/2.
Surrender now, and we all leave with our lives. Keep your eyes sharp.
Becomes a 3/3 with double strike and ward 1. Is that enough to stay around? Because they can throw everything at the Planeswalker and get to it this turn, right? If they want to. Or they can just saddle this. Never mind. They've got exactly what they need. They probably top deck that too. Do you ever get the feeling that maybe the deck is stacked against you? They've gone through their entire hand. They're through drawing land. They don't need land anymore. So they're just going to draw spells after this.
I'll defend my allies.
The undead make great minions. You've reached an undead end.
They'll get rid of Clifftop Lookout for sure. Probably that one, yeah. And then we can exile you so that you don't get more flyers. There we go.
I'll handle this one.
And I don't have a creature. I'm not likely to get a creature. So I guess we just thin the deck. I've got 2 black and 2 white. I don't think I need any other colors. Yeah, that next card was not going to help me in any way. Now they can kill both Planeswalkers and still hit me. Or they can just kill me now. I did mention they weren't going to draw any more land, right? They drew the land they needed. Alright, we're going to do one more. When our deck works, it pops off very nicely. But when I start winning with it too much, Arena just makes sure that their 1, 2, 3, 4 turn are just ideal. If they need removal, they have removal. If they need to be able to cast 2 spells in a turn, they can do it. Once they've got all the land they need, they stop drawing land and just draw spells. This is a little bit of a hodgepodge. But we find a couple of white mana sources and we're in business. One white mana source. Yep, we're killing it. Still an uncastable hand with the most powerful spells showing up right away. And not the right mana for the board wipe. They have all three colors that they want. Oh, it's one of those decks. I do need Dave Judgment now. Didn't get it. I guess we just use Atrax's Fall. And they will have exactly what they need to save it. Oh wait, I can pay for that. Why do they do that? I can afford to pay for the Spell Pierce. Why bother casting it? Why not save it in case it might come in handy later? They just have 3 more helping hands in the deck, so we could be in a lot of trouble. They don't just kill it, they exile it. As soon as their hand is nearly empty, they have a draw spell. They have 3 of these in the graveyard now. All they need is another helping hand. In my kingdom for 1 plains. They'll kill that.
We are united in Phyrexia's garden. Fight beside us.
Of course they have it.
History will not repeat itself.
More land than me, more card draw than me. Throwing away just useless card spells. And they've got me already. Nice deck configuration. And I just never had the chance. I needed to get the other Planeswalker, if it would have survived, could have given me the color I needed for the board wipe, but didn't draw what I needed in the right order at the right time. So, as always, 1 turn away from possibly surviving and turning things around. this another Zombify deck? You notice we complained about not getting planes, and now we've gotten 4 planes in a row. Thank you, spies at Wizards, who monitor my gameplay. Armored Scrap Gorger is great if they don't kill it and they just start throwing stuff in the graveyard, we exile it. Okay. Now we cast this. We exile their Scholar. We scry 4. And we have what we want. I did that wrong. I was supposed to take the Planeswalker first. I'm so tired. Alright, so we blew it big there. We could have had the Planeswalker down immediately. Mind Splice Apparatus. I love that card. And we're just going to empty out the graveyard. And they got 2 artifacts. This might work out better after all, because we've got this. It comes out as an 8/8. We can go ahead and do the emblem
This is my final
once,
fight. Then we must, at last.
and then we can
This
still
is
do
how we
this.
win.
In the meantime, we can cast this from our graveyard.
Please, buy us more time.
They really don't like that, but you know what we're going to do is we're going to activate it. They threw away Shieldred. We're going to exile Shieldred, so they can't bring them back. But there goes all my graveyard hate. What? I can bring the Scrap Gorger back from the graveyard. And instead of 1 food token, because of doubling season, I now get 2. As well as 2 humans. Remember, this is an enchantment saga. We have 1 doubling season out already for the enchantment, so we don't get 1 lore counter per turn. We get 2 lore counters per turn. But it put out the food before it put out the humans, because it gave us 2 at the same time. So it carried out Chapter 2 before it carried out Chapter 1, but it still had to catch us up with giving us Chapter 1. And this is, I was going to say, this is usually where they scoop.
Dominaria's shadows like me.
So it took us a while to sort of get back to the victories of the very first match. But again, all you need to do is get down doubling season, and then you start drawing your Planeswalkers. And the advantages are just so immediately overwhelming that yeah, this is very common. They obviously had a reanimator kind of thing. They deliberately threw Shieldred, their legendary creature, into the graveyard with something like Collector's Vault. That tells you they had a spell like Zombify that they were just hoping to draw into. And we fell victim to one of those decks earlier, but we got our revenge just now. So you can see it's not the most consistent thing. But it's fun. If you want to... there's a reason Mark Rosewater likes doubling things. Doubling things is fun. You can't really argue with him about that. But the fact of the matter is, when he developed this card, Planeswalkers did not exist. And as soon as Planeswalkers existed and he asked for the card to be reprinted, everybody in the world said, no, we have Planeswalkers. Do you have any idea what happens when you add doubling season to Planeswalkers? We showed it to you here. It was just not allowed. If you go back to the 2009-2010 time frame, I know that we're talking, 25 years ago, well, 15 years ago, but it just wasn't allowed because they said it breaks the game. It's just too powerful. Nobody wants to have that kind of game environment. And now, after 15 years of power creep, they're putting, things like Liliana Dreadhorde General in the exact same expansion as Doubling Season. So if you're going to do stuff like that, if you're going to say, oh, you know what, having more than 4 copies of a single card is overpowering, we should make a rule in the game that prevents that. And you have other things where you say, hey, doubling up the ability of something as powerful as a mythic rare planeswalker or whatever, that's overpowering. We shouldn't allow an environment that allows us to do that. And somewhere along the way, the designers and developers, the whole R&D section at Wizards of the Coast started taking crack or some other type of drugs, and they think this is okay now. And what I say is there was a reason you didn't do it back in the day. That reason is still valid, as I think we helped prove today. It doesn't mean that we're invulnerable, right? It doesn't mean we're not going to lose. Obviously, we can lose. If I wanted to, make this tournament worthy, I'd probably throw in a half dozen more removal spells just to control the opponent long enough for me to get my board set up properly. But here, I just wanted to show what you can do, as opposed to make a tournament worthy deck. This is just, I packed it with 11 Planeswalkers. So it's just a fun deck. You get the Doubling Season down. Almost any Planeswalker that you get down is going to be awesome. There are some cases where you saw where we had a Johnny. They had just enough spells to take care of everything. It didn't work out for us. But that's usually a minority of the time. If you do manage to get Doubling Season out, more often than not, your Planeswalkers are just going to automatically start carrying the day. And so, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this deck. I do consider it in the same sense as the previous deck in the Kaizen Evil series, which I think I might have just deleted in order to create this one. But the one with the heir apparent. The heir apparent in the green deck. Let's get rid of any number, if I spell it right. There we go, Slime Against Humanity. You see the infinity symbol. So you don't need to actually open packs with this card. They just automatically, you get one, and you can have as many as you want. Any number of cards. So Slime Against Humanity and Heir Apparent was the last deck that I did that was based upon Wizards designers breaking a rule in terms of designing the environment. And this is another one just like it. So we've entered this new phase. We're not just doing discard and mill and counterspell and all the normal degradation stuff that fans love to hate about the game. But we're doing stuff where this kind of activity, this kind of behavior, this kind of deck building, it just wasn't going to be allowed back in the day. And I don't think anybody can say that there's been no power creep. I know Rosewater and other developers, other defenders at Wizards of the Coast are almost desperate in their attempts to define things away to say that they are not power creep. But I think anybody who studies the history of trading card games knows that power creep is to a certain degree inevitable if you're going to keep continuing. And I think this is a clear case of it, that they have looked at the environment. I'm not on their board of, I'm not on the Hasbro board or anything. I don't have inside knowledge. But I have to assume that they looked at Doubling Season and they looked at Planeswalkers again, and they decided in the current environment, with the power level that we are at with the entire game, that the metagame could handle it. That it is okay now where it was not okay 15 years ago. That the environment has significantly changed that much that it's like, you know what, they can handle it. And you know what, we did lose half the time. So, maybe they're right. But still, you're going against your own design rules. Evil. I'm calling it here. Let me know in the comments if you agree or not. As always, we ask you to like and subscribe. We'll have something different for you next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.